What's going on, Sip? So thank you for coming back to Sip, Smoke, and Share. And a part of my job is what I've been tasked with, which I have a passion for, is young men and helping young men be the best that they could be based on my 50-some years of experience, based on my 50-some years of mistakes, trials and tribulations, errors, highs, lows, ups and downs. So I train young superintendents on my job, and one of the things that I did today is we had a 4-month conference with one of the guys that I'm training. We haven't started this training. Actually, it started today. We just wanted to let him, he was hired about 4 months ago. He's a young kid. He's 18 years old, but he wants to be a superintendent. He grew up in the field with his dad, and so he wants to be a superintendent. And so part of the program that we have at church is that we're gonna allow me to train him. My vice president and the VP, the senior vice president, are okay with the program. So this is basically a pilot program for younger guys that come from alternative learning and guys that don't have degrees, or haven't worked their way up through the trade for, say, 10 or 12 years, because a lot of the assistant superintendents that work on my job or work for me have, been in the trades for 20 years. And so you try to make that jump from being the tradesman to being a foreman in a sense, or a superintendent. So I met with Carlos today, and so he's a young kid. He's pretty eager, you understand? So he talked about what he wants to do and why he wants to do it is one of the questions I wanted to ask. He understands the opportunity. He's a very good kid, very thankful, polite. You can tell that he was raised by his mom and his dad. He has manners. Certain things are not important to him in terms of, like most kids would be worried about how they look, how they dress. If that is, like, he don't seem to be into that fashion. Even though he was dressed nice, he doesn't seem to be one of those kids that be worried, which is cool with me, because I don't really care about that either. But we met with him, today, showed him the program, talked about some of the modules, the training modules that I'll be training him on, and then gave him some homework. Yeah, so I gave him there's a spreadsheet, a 2-page spreadsheet of all of the expectations and responsibilities that we have while you're on my job site or in my trailer or on my project. Depending if we have 2 to 4 to 5, I think my middle school in Humble had 3 superintendents. No, it was me, Octavio, Catfish. So it was 3 superintendents. I had 2 superintendents. Then I had, I think, 1 or 2 carpenters and a laborer. So I had about 6 people on the field side. Then there were so we had about 8 people on that project. So everybody has a responsibility. So the matrix has all of these activities that go on and, that need to be completed at some point, within the month. Some are daily, some are weekly, some are bi-weekly, some are monthly. So one of the assignments that he had is he had to, if you want to be better, then you can't just do average. You can't be average. So my thing to him was, pick some of this out that you're going to be responsible for. Yeah. Pick out 3 of these things that, when they need to be done, I'm not going to have to run and tell you that they need to be done. You're just going to do it. And when I go check, it's going to be done. And I also told him, pick out a couple of items that you want to watch me do. Read this list. And the list didn't have any names by it because I just gave him a blank one. So I said, look at this list and figure out things that you want to do, that you believe that I'm going to be responsible for, that you want to see happen or learn how to do. In the end, so I'm going to train him in those areas. I also gave him, we talked about mediocrity and complacency, because those are the two things that kill companies and kill vision, kill momentum, kill being complacent and being mediocre. So we talked about that, and I gave him an assignment about that to go look up the definition and then find out how he's gonna combat both of those in himself. So that was my homework to him. You know, I'm excited for him. I'm happy that he's joined the team. I'm looking forward to helping him develop. You know, and I told him one of the things we talked about, you know, is that there's not a dumb question. The dumb question is the one that you don't ask. So we talked about that. We talked about making mistakes. And one of the things about making mistakes, like I told him, one of the mistakes that you make, if you make a mistake and you learn from your mistake, guess what? You won't make that mistake again. So I'm excited about it. He's excited. The team is excited. So I'm just excited to watch a young mind grow, develop, and flourish under my tutelage, because I believe I'm as the head of the team, I'm only as good as my team. So iron sharpens iron, so I need to get him to where he's sharp. Whether I'm there or whether I'm not there, I know I can trust him to do what's right. So that's why I am. Hey, hopefully the government will open up soon. But thank y'all for coming back to Sip, Smoke, and Share. Give me a thumbs up if you like any of this information. If you think you can use some of this, let me know. Sip, sip.